Welcome to Reframe and Reclaim. We are Courtney Huckabee, a psychotherapist,
and Jen Harris, an interior designer who have teamed up
to reflect,
challenge,
and reframe your mindset in relationship with your personal belongings. Find the reframe.
Start your reclaim.
Hi, welcome back to Reframe and Reclaim. I am Courtney Huckabee.
And I'm Jen Harris.
And today we're here to start talking about decluttering. And where do we even start? Sometimes it's just so overwhelming. But have you ever looked around your home and wondered, where do I start?
Yes.
And if you have, you are very far from alone. Jen and I both have had those questions in our own homes and even with clients that we've worked with. But according to 2024 study, 54% of Americans say that they don't feel comfortable starting decluttering because they are overwhelmed by the amount of clutter in their home.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers estimate the average American home contains over 300,000 items, and this is no wonder why we feel so overwhelmed. There's so many things in our homes. So if you have ever felt frozen by clutter, you are not lazy and you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to talk about why clutter feels so overwhelming and exactly the steps that we have learned and how to take those steps into small, actionable steps.
Yes, this is going to be a really exciting topic. So be sure to listen in. Make sure you're undisturbed. Whether you're in your car or doing dishes while you're listening in. But there's going to be a lot of good information here today. So
Lots of good tips and tricks
yes,
to break down this big burden to smaller, actionable steps, which is really important because honestly, 48% of Americans feel as though their house is somewhat cluttered by things that they no longer need or use.
mm-hmm.
If that's you,
Yes.
listen in. Listen in. So, we want to talk about why does this feel so overwhelming? So, Jen, talk to me about your experience. We have been doing this for quite a while together,
Yes.
but we've had a lifetime of learning these things and practicing. What is it in your experience that you felt overwhelmed?
Well, I think just 300,000 items sounds very daunting.
Yes,
I don't have a weekend long enough to take care of 300,000 items,
right.
and so that just seems like an overwhelming to do list. And so I just want to run away. And then for me specifically, over the years, it's really been the emotional tie I had to the items and how much value I was
Mhm.
placing on items, whether or not that was the true value I really saw it as, or,
Your own personal value.
exactly, exactly. So,
Yeah. And I hear you say, like, I don't have a whole weekend to take over all of these
right.
items and figure out all of it at once. And that is one of the things that we really want to debunk is like some of the reasons that people feel overwhelmed is you don't have to do it all at once. And we really want to break that down for you.
Hmm.
And there's actually science behind why clutter feels overwhelming. So, physically, we have our physical space, and we know that our physical space impacts us. I know when I'm at the beach, away from my home, I feel much more relaxed.
Right.
I'm staying in a hotel or, a vacation home where things are neat and
Hmm.
put away, and I don't have to clean
You're not
everything at the end.
responsible for it all.
Right, right. There's some science behind that. But I think that when we're in our own space, we collect things along the way. An American Cleaning Institute found that 87% of Americans say they actually feel better physically and mentally when they have a clean home. And this is me
Yes.
100% of the time. Like, I love the C step and reclaim because of that. I feel mentally rested. I feel a little bit more relaxed whenever I have a home that is more put together. But 60% say that a clean home reduces their stress and anxiety. Have you ever felt stressed in your home because of clutter
Yes.
or mess
Yes.
or things?
Yes.
And this is true. So, we want to know, like, for you, like, we realize that women, especially, are actually very much impacted by their physical space and clutter. So, our cortisol levels can raise very quickly, women, because I think our minds are really scanning the whole environment, not just like one table or one room. We
Yes.
really consider everything. We're having to be more of a global aware person. And children as well are highly impacted by that too. So, we want to talk about how to start all of this stress, overwhelm, anxiety, and just feelings of I can't do this and break it down into simpler steps.
Yes. So, Courtney, from your experience with your clients, what do you tell your clients as far as like how to reframe their mindset in order to even be in the space? Because if you're overwhelmed, you're going to feel paralyzed and not even know where to start. So, like, what do you tell them to help them just get into a place where it's like, okay, I can take the first small step?
Well, I tell clients all the time, like, make sure we have a plan. Like, we're not going to just jump in without a plan, and make sure we're looking at, small, measurable goals. So we may say it's the guest room, or it's the kitchen, or it's the linen closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask them, what would you want this to look like or feel like? So we're really imagining how I want the space to feel. I want it to feel, empty. I want it to feel organized. I want it to feel functional. I don't want it to feel overwhelming. So we say, okay, what would it need to be if it didn't feel like these overwhelming spaces? And we kind of come up with okay, how will it function?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a very much like our 7 steps that we've come up with, the reflecting and then the evaluating of the actual items. So let's start with one drawer in the bathroom. So pull that drawer out, clean it out. What do we need in this drawer? How does this drawer need to function? And then we move to the next drawer or the next closet.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, one thing at a time.
So no multitasking. That's you can't.
So I will tell you, like in the 90s, and I'm sure before then too, like it was really cool to say, I can multitask. I used to actually put that on my resumes. I can multitask.
Oh.
It has actually been found that our brains are not built to multitask. If you spread your attention across 3 or 4 things at once, you will actually be less efficient, less focused, and less functional in those spaces. So, one thing at a time, if we can, it's actually best for our brain and it's best for outcomes too.
Yes.
So, yes,
That's a hard lesson to learn. I want to be able to multitask and do it all. But yes, one at a
sometimes
time.
we feel like we have to multitask and do it
Yeah,
all
that's
because there's
true.
so much to do. But if you can, maybe it's, one space, give yourself 20 minutes, 10 minutes. We don't have to have the whole weekend.
Hmm.
That's what I heard you say
Yes.
earlier. It really doesn't have to take the whole weekend if I choose not to take the whole house or the whole room at once. One thing at a time, one space at a time. And then you feel a little sense of accomplishment and a little sense of, achievement. And then I can do more later.
Yes. And I will say for those spaces where you do feel completely overwhelmed, like let's say there's so many objects, you can't even imagine what that space would look like clear or how you would use it. I recommend you can take a before picture and you can go in with your phone. Most smartphones have you like erase backgrounds or you can erase items out of it. And that will give you kind
Mm,
of a new perspective of how it could look lighter. You can also use AI and take a photo and say, show me different options for this room or show me this room decluttered and with clean cabinet countertops, and it'll show you that. And so then you can use that as a reference point to help your goal setting, where it's like, wow,
right.
this feels really good. This is what I want to achieve. And then take those, little small steps
I
to
like
make that
that.
happen.
I have not gotten on the AI bandwagon as much
Hmm.
as so many others have, but I love that's a good way to use that. Just be like,
Yes.
I don't know what this room or space looks like empty or more, cleared out. That's a really great reference to
Right.
see what it could look like.
Because sometimes you don't even know,
Hmm.
right? You don't know what you don't know. So,
Don't know what you don't know. Agreed.
yes.
So whenever we're looking at a space, the AI is a great way because then you don't have to make so many decisions. You can kind of
Yes.
look at what it could look like. I will say the mental overwhelm and the idea of tackling a whole space, the decision fatigue, like
Yes.
how do I make decisions about 300,000 items or 20 items? Sometimes 20 items is overwhelming for some. So the decision fatigue can definitely hinder or create hesitation.
Yeah.
The idea that it has to be perfect, like,
Oh, that's me.
uh, and I will say, even in our book, it's trial and error. Like,
Hmm.
even with the idea of the layout, put it together when you assemble it. And if it doesn't feel good, change it. It's okay. It needs to function for you, not for the, influencer or Instagram person online. So having everything perfect that needs to kind of come off the table if we
Yeah.
can. Let's just try and see what we can come up with and if we like it or not.
The other thing with perfectionism I found as a recovering perfectionist is, then whenever the house does get a little bit messy throughout the day or it's lived in and enjoyed, I get on the, oh, this is stressing me out. Why I just cleaned this. It's already messy again, right?
Hmm.
And so getting stuck in that mindset, well, why should I even do it if no one else is going to help or if it's just going to get messy again? What's the point? And so really reframing that to there's going to be expected mess, but having systems in
Right.
place to be able to um, kind of reset the space as
Hmm.
needed.
And this comes into that maintain, right?
Yes.
And so in our book you'll hear us talk about like the last step is the most important step, and that's where we do invite other people who are sharing the space to help with keeping the space in a certain order, and kids, partners, roommates alike. It can be really helpful.
Animals, they
I was
like to
about
knock
to
all the
say
pillows off.
animals too. I was like, train your animals to put their toys away. And you talked about something else just a moment ago, the sentimental value of
Yes.
items. A lot of people are very hesitant. I don't want to touch those things because I don't want to have to feel like I have to discard them. And we don't need to discard them. Clutter is really things that are not meaningful or not useful. So if you have a sentimental attachment to something, let's make sure it has a place to be displayed
Hmm.
or preserved. And so don't feel like you have to discard everything, but we definitely want to honor those
Right.
things. Right.
And going the opposite of that, you don't feel like you need to discard everything, but also don't feel like you need to keep everything as well. How many items, and this is all per person, what would make you feel confident or comfortable of keeping of someone, let's
Hmm.
say someone who's deceased, what
Hmm.
what would make you feel fulfilled and have those memories and keep that memory alive and going,
Hmm.
and maybe something you previously thought was associated with them really isn't, or doesn't have as much meaning as another item, or two items hold the same memories. So I think just, being open with your feelings and what feels good to you.
Yeah, and I think the opposite end side of that coin is sometimes the felt obligation
Mm,
that
yeah.
this is from somebody, it's been gifted, or I've inherited it, so I have to keep it to honor this person. And there have been conversations that I've had with family members, and I know Jen has had
Hmm.
too, of like, this is from somebody we all love, and I want someone to appreciate this and to have space for it. Right now it's not fitting in my chapter of life, but I don't want to forget that other people love this person
Right.
and want to honor them. Is this something you would like? And so, sharing the memory too can be really
Yeah.
helpful. And the last kind of roadblock to the overwhelm of clutter is feeling as though I have to do it all right
Hmm.
now and it all
Yes.
has to get done in one sitting. And so that is not the case we've talked about already. So if you're in a place where you're feeling decision fatigue or you're feeling that it has to be perfect, if you're feeling as though I have these sentimental attachments or I have to get it all done right now, listen in. We got some really great tips coming from Jen.
Yes. And research has shown consistently that people delay decluttering because the task feels too large, and breaking it into manageable sessions makes it more likely that you'll actually start the whole process. So not
Right.
even accomplish, but just getting started, you've got to be able to break it down into smaller bits. Like you were saying earlier
Mhm. Yeah,
with the
one
manageable
drawer.
goals.
Yeah,
Yep.
manageable goals. And I think it's the same thing. Like if you have the analogy of like running a marathon, which she has done, I have not. But for me, I'm like, no way, this is too much. It's so overwhelming. But they have like actual like apps and programs where it's like,
Hmm.
this is how you get started. You run this long for this day and take a break or those things. And so I think that's a really great analogy of like anything that is a bigger goal, we can
Yes.
definitely break it down into smaller segments.
For sure. Yeah. And I think exercise is a great example. Similar to um, decluttering, like you get to see the physical change and the physical payoff, right?
Hmm.
And so I think, you don't run a marathon in one day. It takes those small steps. So just like decluttering, if you have 300,000 items, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Like my mom says, it took me years to accumulate the items. It's going to take me a while to go through it all.
I love
So,
that.
yeah.
It took me years to accumulate all of this stuff that I have loved and, enjoyed.
Mhm.
It's going to take me time to decide what I
Yeah.
need in this chapter.
Yeah.
I like that. So let's talk about like some strategies because we have some really great strategies in
Yes.
our book. I know that we've talked about those a lot. So, what are some strategies that you've used, Jen, from becoming an what did we say? You're overcoming your
Recovering
recovering
maximalist
maximalist to
and perfectionist.
becoming and recovering perfectionist to taking one step at a time, starting to let go of things. What are
Yes.
some of the
From so
strategies?
many programs and recovering from so many things.
And she's doing great.
So definitely breaking it down into those smaller chunks, like we were saying, whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes a night. Think of like the apps you have on your phone, right? So if you're trying to learn a new language or you're trying to do things, they break it down into 10-minute segments. Just come on here. But the repetition of doing it every day is what makes it
It
stick.
adds up.
Yes, it creates that habit, right? So starting with unemotional spaces, start with a nightstand, a sock drawer, expired medicine under the cabinets in your bathroom.
I actually decluttered my sock drawer this morning
She did, yep.
with this and honestly it took me 12 minutes. I looked at the clock. I was like, let's see. And I wasn't trying to race. I really needed to get rid of some socks because I couldn't close my sock drawer. Oh my gosh, it was too much.
And that's one thing, you want to initially starting out do things that are going to make a visual impact. So
Hmm.
places that you are constantly. So a bathroom countertop, again, a nightstand countertop. I wouldn't start with paper immediately unless it's mail to just because a lot of that will just go out of the home. But a single sheet of paper is really small and thin, and so you could be there for you get rid of 100 pieces of paper, and it doesn't give you the same visual impact as a drawer of socks, which are bigger. So, especially when you're trying to get that motivation and get that instant gratification to see what you can do, definitely go with those easier, larger item spaces.
Yeah, clothes and
Yeah.
in the closet and the hamper, trying to organize that. Bathroom counters with all the products and things like that. I
Yes.
think those are really great areas where you're using those areas a lot and you're using the things a lot, but let's
Hmm.
make it a little bit more organized and manageable.
And kind of going back to the workout analogy we were using earlier, a lot of times people say like put your clothes out the night before you go to the gym, right? Because that's going to help you feel more motivated in the morning and get up and go. Same thing at night, you're not really going to want to like reset and go through and do some decluttering. But if you take just that 10 minutes, you
Hmm.
will feel better in the morning and you will feel lighter as you're getting ready to start the day. So, and plus for me, if I do it in the evenings, I also feel more clear headed for
Yes.
bedtime, right? It's not
Yes.
like this other to do that I didn't do or this other failure. Well, I didn't get my 10 minutes in today. So.
And I will say for me, having a sink that is empty lets my mind be at ease. And
Mm,
so, you may have a certain space in your home that, your mind just gravitates more towards. And
yeah.
so, finding a space that maybe feels good to have a little tidiness or might feel better if it were more organized. And I think that's a really great place to start.
Yes. And then as you're doing this method initially, I do like, having designated spaces. Your trash is pretty easy to get to, but having like a donation bin, having a keep bin if it goes into another room, but make sure you're staying in one place and then put those items where they need to go. But don't go and replace the items that go to another room till at the very end. Because if not, you're going to get, again, that multitasking.
Back and forth between
It's going
rooms.
to,
And then if you get distracted easily,
yes.
then I'm like, cleaning out the dog's bowl and doing another load of laundry when really I need to be
So this has
decluttering.
happened to you before then.
I mean, I've heard of things. Not only am I the founder, I'm also a client.
Yes. But really, that's what I recommend for the overwhelm is starting small, start with a timer, just 10 minutes here, 20 minutes
Mhm.
here,
Mhm.
and starting with those big impact areas. So flat surfaces are always nice visually to keep clear. So
Mhm.
again, a bathroom countertop, a nightstand, a kitchen counter, your entryway. So think of
Mhm.
areas that stress you out, and
And I will say I open my sock drawer pretty regularly, but I have multiple drawers in my dresser. I only organized my sock drawer this morning. I didn't go to the next
Hmm.
drawer. And so that's a small win. And I go, oh, 12 minutes. And then I get back to my routine. Now it may be a few days until I get to another
Right.
drawer, but I open it now and it closes smoothly and it feels good. And now I'm like, oh, I want to do that with my t-shirt drawer. Now I
Exactly.
want to do that with like my shorts and my pants
See,
drawer.
now you've got that dopamine hit and you want to keep going.
And I've
So
accomplished something. I know I can do it and I can do it again.
that's right.
Yeah.
So with most things, if you're feeling overwhelmed, start small. That's, I think, the biggest takeaway.
Yeah. Start small. Small wins add up to motivation, add up to capability, and add up to more confidence and taking over more spaces.
Right. And then we're looking for progress, not perfection. You definitely
No.
just want to get started. And we heard a great thing at this last conference we were at. It is action over aesthetic. And so don't get so trapped in the Pinterest page of it's going to look this, or I have to research what it's going to look like and how this is going to be. You want to have a plan, but don't get so stuck in the plan that it paralyzes you from moving forward and taking any action.
Yeah. The plan can be very simple. Like, I want the towels to fit into the linen closet,
Hmm.
or I want to be able to find my hairsprays and mousses in the bathroom. But I think it can be really helpful to be like, why, how will the space feel different? What
Yeah.
will I need in this space? And then that's kind of like the action taking.
Yes. So the challenge for you guys at home, if you're listening in, is tonight you're not going to go through 300,000 items. You don't have to decide what to do
No,
with them.
no,
You're going to decide what to do with like 10 items, right?
love it.
So pick one space in your home. We've given listed out a whole lot that you could try to start out with, and just go through it tonight. Just set a timer, go through it, and see how you feel. See if it feels better, and where do you want to go from there? What's the next space you want to tackle?
And let us know how it went. We'd love to hear
Yes.
feedback and comments and other ideas and suggestions. But I do say this is a great starting point.
Yes. Yeah. So thanks for listening in to the podcast today. Comment below if you know someone that's feeling really overwhelmed and doesn't know where to start. Please share this podcast with them and give them some motivation to, get started on their big challenge that they want to accomplish. So, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.